China has not fired a single missile today. It has not deployed a single soldier. It has not closed a single shipping lane. And yet, China may be the most consequential participant in this war that is not actually fighting it. Here is what China has done. It called for an immediate ceasefire, publicly, loudly, on the record. It sent loitering munitions, kamikaze drones, to Iran before the attack began, according to multiple Arab officials and a regional intelligence source. It supplied Iran's air defense systems after last June's war. It is in near-final negotiations to sell Iran supersonic anti-ship missiles that experts describe as a complete game-changer, capable of sinking a U.S. aircraft carrier. It replaced Iran's Western software with closed Chinese systems to protect against U.S. and Israeli cyber attacks. It built a shadow financial system with Iran to bypass U.S. sanctions. And it is doing all of this while simultaneously managing trade relations with the United States worth hundreds of billions of dollars annually, trade that Trump's February 6 executive order now threatens to weaponize against Chinese companies that support Iran. China is not a spectator. China is a player, and understanding how it plays is the most important strategic analysis this war requires. China's official public position is documented and unambiguous. The Chinese Foreign Ministry stated on X on February 28, China is highly concerned about the U.S. and Israel's military strikes against Iran. China calls for an immediate cessation of military operations to avoid further escalation of tensions, to resume dialogue and negotiations, and to safeguard peace and stability in the Middle East. A second statement followed. Iran's sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity should be respected. At the UN Security Council emergency meeting at 4 p.m. ET today, China and Russia jointly cited the unprovoked and reckless act of military aggression by the United States and Israel against the Islamic Republic of Iran as the framing for their request for an emergency agenda item. China's UN ambassador spoke in support of Iran's sovereignty and against the strikes. This official position serves three audiences simultaneously. It signals Beijing's alignment with Tehran, maintaining the comprehensive strategic partnership. It positions China as the responsible global power calling for diplomacy while the United States wages war. And it gives Beijing diplomatic cover for whatever indirect support it is providing Iran, because officially, China is calling for peace, not fueling war. The gap between the official position and the documented operational reality is the most important analytical space in this entire script. 4 days before the bombs fell, that Iran is close to finalizing a deal with Beijing to purchase CM-302 supersonic anti-ship cruise missiles, citing 6 sources familiar with the negotiations. The CM-302 is not a routine arms transfer. It is marketed by China's state-owned China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation, CASIC, as the world's best anti-ship missile, capable of sinking an aircraft carrier or destroyer. It is supersonic and designed to fly at low altitude to evade naval radar. Its range is approximately 290 kilometers. The weapon can be mounted on ships, aircraft, or mobile ground vehicles, meaning Iran could deploy it from the coastline, from IRGC Navy vessels, or from the aircraft that survived today's strikes. The strategic implication is specific. The USS Gerald R. Ford and USS Abraham Lincoln carrier strike groups are operating in the region right now. The Ford and its escorts carry more than 5,000 personnel and 150 aircraft.
a supersonic, low-altitude anti-ship missile with a 290-kilometer range designed to penetrate shipborne defenses aimed at those carrier groups, would represent an Iranian capability that does not currently exist at this level, and that Iran does not yet have. Peter Wieseman of the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute described the potential CM302 purchase as a significant improvement for an arsenal depleted by last year's war. The deal is not yet complete. Reuters sources said China could ultimately walk away, given the political context, but Iran's Deputy Defense Minister, Masoud Orey, was personally involved in the negotiations. The timing, negotiations accelerating after the June 2025 war, near final as of February 24, 4 days before Operation Epic Fury, means this deal is now the most watched arms transaction on Earth. If China completes it while the war is active, the U.S. Navy faces a weapon it was not designed to defend against, delivered by a supplier that is simultaneously calling for ceasefire. The CM302 is the deal not yet signed, but China has already been delivering weapons to Iran, confirmed by multiple independent intelligence sources. Middle East Eye confirmed, citing 2 Arab officials and a regional intelligence official, that China has sent loitering munitions, kamikaze drones, to Iran. A second Arab official confirmed the deliveries of offensive weapons. A regional intelligence official listed the Chinese air defense systems already in Iran's possession, the HQ-16 and HQ-17AE surface-to-air missile systems. These were supplied following the June 2025 12-day war, in which Iran's air defenses were significantly degraded by Israeli strikes. Intelligence reports dated February 27, 1 day before Operation Epic Fury, indicated China sent loitering munitions and air defense systems to Iran shortly before the attack began. The timing suggests pre-positioning. China knew the attack was coming and moved to reinforce Iran's defensive and offensive capabilities in the window before it started. China supplies approximately 80% of the world's drone components. It is simultaneously a supplier to Russia in Ukraine, and now, through these deliveries, a supplier to Iran. The loitering munitions China sent are described by one Arab official as small systems, but the same characterization was made of the Iranian Shahed drones before they became one of the defining weapons of the Ukraine war, with Iran establishing a production line of 10,000 units per year at Russia's Alabuga industrial zone. The least visible but strategically significant dimension of China's support for Iran is taking place in the digital domain, and it began in January 2026, 2 months before today's war. China began implementing a strategy to replace Western technologies in Iran with secure, closed Chinese systems, the explicit objective being to protect Iranian digital sovereignty and counter U.S. and Israeli cyber attacks. Iran paid for at least some of the air defense systems through oil shipments, according to MEE's reporting, a barter arrangement that bypasses the U.S. dollar system entirely. The cyber dimension is specific to what happened today. A simultaneous cyber attack struck Iran alongside the kinetic strikes, with several major Iranian news agencies and the IRNA state news agency experiencing severe disruptions. Those disruptions hit Chinese protected systems. The effectiveness of China's digital sovereignty program, how much of Iran's communications infrastructure it managed to protect, is now being tested in real time against U.S. and Israeli cyber attack capabilities. This is a proxy cyber war between Chinese and American Israeli systems fought on Iranian territory without a single official acknowledgement from any government.
China's support for Iran comes at a documented and escalating cost, and Trump has explicitly designed the cost structure to force Beijing to choose between its Iranian alliance and its American trade relationship. On February 6, 2026, 3 weeks before today's war, Trump signed an executive order specifically targeting countries that materially support Iran. The order authorizes targeted tariffs of up to 25% on any country that directly or indirectly acquires goods or services from Iran. Critically, it expands secondary sanctions to target specific Chinese state-owned firms, naming China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation, the manufacturer of the CM-302. If China completes the CM-302 sale, CASIC faces U.S. secondary sanctions. If the loitering munitions deliveries are formally attributed to Chinese state entities, those entities face the same. Trump confirmed he discussed Iran during his February 4 phone call with Xi Jinping, 12 days before the executive order was signed and 24 days before the bombs fell. Xi knew the sanctions architecture was coming. He knew what completing the CM-302 deal would cost. The question China is now answering in real time is whether the strategic value of keeping Iran armed and capable outweighs the economic cost of U.S. secondary sanctions on its state defense industry. China's trade relationship with the United States is worth approximately $660 billion annually. China's trade relationship with Iran is worth approximately $15 billion annually, primarily Iranian oil purchased at below market prices. The economic mathematics favor choosing America. The strategic mathematics, China's interest in a multipolar world where U.S. military dominance is checked, favor choosing Iran. Beijing is holding both calculations simultaneously, and the CM-302 decision is where they collide. The most analytically profound assessment of China's position in this war comes not from a government, not from a think tank with a political agenda, but from Chatham House, the Royal Institute of International Affairs in London, one of the most credible foreign policy research institutions in the world. Chatham House's thesis, published 2 days ago and directly applicable today, is this: China is playing a long game it wins regardless of the outcome of this war. The reasoning is documented and specific. The weaker the Iranian regime gets, whether from U.S. or Israeli military strikes or from domestic unrest, the more diplomatically, economically, and technologically dependent on China Iran will become. A post-war Iran, whatever government emerges from the succession crisis, will need to rebuild its military, its economy, its digital infrastructure, its energy sector, and its international relationships. China is positioned to provide all of those things, on Chinese terms, at Chinese prices, with Chinese political conditions attached. The Chatham House assessment adds a second dimension. China's long game extends beyond Iran. China's position in this war will be observed by every country in the global south that is watching whether China backs its partners or abandons them under U.S. pressure. If China maintains its support for Iran, even indirectly, it sends a message to every potential partner that Chinese alignment is durable. If it abandons Iran to avoid U.S. secondary sanctions, it sends the opposite message. The reputational stakes of China's Iran decision extend to Saudi Arabia, to the UAE, to every country that is currently reassessing its U.S. relationship under Trump's tariff and military pressure. Chatham House's conclusion: it is up to the U.S. and its allies to re-evaluate their policies so they don't inadvertently serve China's long-term objectives. Every bomb the U.S. drops on Iran may be simultaneously eliminating an Iranian weapons program and advancing China's long-term strategic position in the region.